Okay, I'm here today with research that there's a trail name off the Appalachian Trail, and as many of you already know, they're calling me FedEx from obvious reasons that you saw in the video 2 days ago. So anyway, I'm going to question, or interview, I should say, research on what it is to be a female on the Appalachian Trail. One of the things while I was talking to her, I found out that she is a United Methodist, and she loves what I am doing as a mission trip for Encore. So I'm going to start with, what made you decide to hike the Appalachian Trail?
Well, I have always loved being outside from when I was a kid and then a camp counselor at a YMCA camp. And I did some backpacking with my dad when I was a kid and a teenager, and I really loved it. So then I started hearing more about the Appalachian Trail, and I love the idea of a trail that goes from Georgia to Maine. It just struck my imagination that you could get on one trail and walk all the way to Maine. So I started reading more about it, and I read some really fun trail journals, like a woman named Jennifer Farr Davis wrote a book, Becoming Odessa, about her experiences on the trail. And then it just seemed like a really amazing challenge and a great opportunity, so I decided to give it a try.
That's awesome. Well, how long have you been on the trail, and where did you start it at?
I started in Georgia at the southern terminus, which is Springer Mountain, and there's also an 8-mile approach trail. So I started at the bottom at the approach trail, and I started on January 21st with my Great Pyrenees dog, whose name is Atticus. And then we just hiked north.
Well, has the journey on the trail strengthened your journey in your faith?
Yes, I think of it as kind of a spiritual pilgrimage. I mostly will read like books about faith, or like some of my old Sunday school study materials. I listen to a lot of Christian music. Well, I don't actually do that while I'm hiking, but at night I'll listen. So I think a lot about walking as a form of prayer and a kind of spiritual journey. So I think a lot about faith and my dependence and reliance on God as I experience the challenges.
Yes, I've been enjoying my conversations with the Lord along the way, and my mission is walking with Jesus. And sometimes I find myself talking out loud and having some interesting conversations. Mm-hmm. Being a member of the United Methodist Church, does this have any influence on conversations that you have with others?
My strength is not really evangelism so much, because I sometimes get embarrassed, but I've decided just to try to be filled with joy as much as I can, and then just share that with everybody, and then hopefully they'll, and I'm also very open that I'm a Christian, so hopefully people will associate Christians with joy-filled people and be drawn to that.
Well, I can honestly say that I was one of those that was drawn to that, and carrying on a conversation and finding more about you just enticed me to do this interview.
Oh, that's great.
If you could change one thing about the hike, what would it be?
I would like warm weather. It's been a horribly difficult year. I live in Georgia, so I've gotten really used to nice hot weather, and I grew up in Michigan, so I should be more used to the snow, but hiking in the snow is really nice for about 10 minutes, and then that's enough. And just being outside 24/7 in the snow has been a real hardship. So I'm really excited for, summer has got to come one day. It's got to.
What is your observation about the people you have encountered along the trail?
I have just been amazed at the really amazing thing to me about the trail is how people are just very open to each other, and a lot of the kind of trappings of civilization fall away, like worrying about status or wealth, and people are just more open and honest. And so you meet somebody and then you just talk really on an honest level with them very early in the relationship. So that is really wonderful. I love that.
So as long as you've been hiking the trail, I'm sure you've had some of them moments where you were excited as to what you saw, and you were also probably scared at some point, were you?
Yeah, I'm scared a lot of the time. And I just always, like, the more I've hiked, the less scared I get. But I think that really brings home to me that I remember that I'm not actually alone, because God is always with me. So that helps, it strengthens my faith to understand that fear is not necessary for a Christian.
That's one thing I have experienced when I had the heart attack. I was afraid at first, and then I said a short little prayer, and the fear went away almost immediately.
It's amazing.
And I've noticed that on the trails too, when something startles me, a squirrel running across the leaves or something, and I get spooked, I say my little prayer and I feel at ease once again.
Yeah, there was a place, I'm very afraid of heights, and there was a place in the Smoky Mountains where I had to walk along kind of a ledge, and I was hiking along and I didn't want to do it, so I started chanting to myself, I love God, God loves me, I love God, God loves me, and I just kept saying that, and then it got scarier and scarier, and I just left to the heart of the message, which is God loves me, and I just kept saying that, and I got past the scary part, and of course I was fine. It wasn't really dangerous, but if you're scared of heights, it doesn't take a lot.
Oh no, trust me, I am as well. Well, as long as you've been hiking the trail, I can tell from talking to you in conversations that you've really enjoyed it. But what do you do when you're not hiking?
I teach at a women's college in Macon, Georgia called Wesleyan College, which is a Methodist affiliated school. It's a very old college for women, and it's a wonderful school. It's small, and it's like a big family, and it's a great, I teach psychology classes there. And I'm on sabbatical. The college is supporting me while I conduct research on the trail. So I got my trail name, and it fits perfectly because I also do research. So people figured that out even though they didn't know I was collecting data. So.
What about other hobbies that you might have?
I love animals. I love dogs. I like doing cross stitch, and I like to garden and read.
During a conversation we had earlier, you also enjoy a game called...
Oh, pickleball. That's right. Like, I just started playing pickleball. I'm not that good, but it doesn't matter because it's a lot of fun. It's like a cross between tennis, doubles tennis, and ping pong. And if you ever meet anybody who plays it, they'll get really excited and tell you all about it. And it is the fastest growing sport in America. So check it out. It's really fun, and it's good exercise. And
for my last question I have for you, since you've been on the trail as long as you have, what's the biggest thing that you miss the most?
I miss my friends and family the most, and I just feel like I have so much support. I also really miss my church family. I didn't realize how much I would miss that, but my church family just like laid hands on me and said a prayer for safe journeys, and I feel very covered in prayer. And I talk to friends and family all the time, and they're very supportive of me, so that's great. Oh, and I do have one more question. Okay. While we were talking, you were talking about the fact that you went to a UMC church on Easter Sunday. Yes, I did. I was staying at a different hostel, which is called Woods Hole Hostel, and it's back in earlier in Virginia. It's one of the older hostels, and I was staying there the night before Easter, and I was really wanting to go to church on Easter. I hadn't been to church at all since I've been on the trail, and I have never, I mean, like, the idea of having an Easter without without going to church just seems so sad to me. So I just was asking her if she knew of any possibility of maybe how I could get to church, and she said, you can come with me to my church. So she took me to, and it was a Methodist church, and it was a beautiful, like, very small, the pastor has like a circuit of 5 different churches, and that for Easter Sunday the 5 congregations were coming together in this like little tiny country church that was an old building. And it was, so the church was full, and it was just beautiful. It was so wonderful. And nobody cared that we were dressed like hikers. You know, we had taken showers, but we weren't, and Easter Sunday, everyone's dressed up, but we were not. But we were made to feel so welcome, and welcomed for communion and everything. So that was really wonderful. Well, thank you for taking the time to do this. Thanks.